Hi everyone. Welcome to the summer 2025 version of ECON450, Principles of Microeconomics. As you hopefully know, this is an online asynchronous course, meaning that you'll do everything virtually, but that we won't have any set meeting times. It's really about following your own schedule, but within the set course deadlines that we have in our very short class. My name is Emily Beam. I'm an associate professor here at the University of Vermont. I've been here in Vermont for about 8 years, and I really enjoy teaching principles of micro because it deals with a lot of the foundational topics that we come back to again and again. As you go through this course, you may think, wow, this theory explains so much, or you may think, wow, this theory is really simplistic. And that's by design. We start with simple theories to understand how we can describe the world, and then where economics gets really interesting is when things start going wrong, and the world doesn't look like those neat, tidy models. So as we start with this course, we're going to start with some very straightforward models: supply and demand, firm costs, profit maximization, and then at various parts we'll talk about what happens when those things don't work. Maybe there are externalities like those caused by pollution, or maybe there's moral hazard, or maybe we have monopolies and market power. So all of these things are going to be a part of our course, establishing those foundational models and then starting to kind of mess and break with them. So I've put together a few short videos just to introduce you to the course and help you understand the various things you're going to interact with. Some of these may be familiar if you are already a UVM student. Others may be newer if you're coming from another university or institution. Our course is on Brightspace. You should be able to log into Brightspace and see something that looks like this. You'll see a list of upcoming events, which are basically just deadlines. This is one place to start in terms of putting together your calendar for the course, but I recommend going into content and activities where you can see everything all together. You'll see here how you can reach me by email. That's probably the best way to get in touch with me. I'm checking my email regularly. I'll do my very best to get back to you within 24 hours. I'll put the introduction videos down here, and you can see our course syllabus. What you'll see in our course is that we have a few different ways that we interact with the material. We're going to use Achieve, which is an online learning platform from Macmillan that supports our textbook. You'll need to purchase access to this. It comes with the ebook, so it's one fee and it covers the entire course. It's a little bit pricey, but on the other hand, I think the homeworks and the materials are really good and very well aligned with what we're going to be covering in the class. You'll do your homeworks on that platform. We also will have some short assignments on Brightspace. I call them economic delights. They're basically short check-ins, opportunities to connect what we're working on to things that are happening in the real world. The very first one is actually due that very first day of class as a way to just kind of make sure that you're here, I'm here, we can troubleshoot any problems that might come up. And it's basically just a survey, so it shouldn't take you very long. You'll see that our assignments are generally due on Mondays and Thursdays and Mondays at 10 p.m. The only exception is going to be our first week, in which our first batch of assignments, it's often going to be 4 assignments, 6 assignments due all together. It will be due on Friday just because of the holiday. As you'll see in our class, we have 2 exams. They'll be open book. They'll be on Brightspace, this platform, and we will be using the Respondus lockdown browser. There'll be a lot more information as we get ready for that to make sure that, one, you know what you're getting into, I know what we're getting into, it's a workable experience, and you don't experience any technical difficulties while you're trying to make that happen. You can see our course calendar here. We're covering the full set of material that we would normally cover in a 14 to 15 week class, but we're doing it in 4. So what that means is that we're going to move pretty quickly through the material, and so staying on top of things is going to be really essential in order to understand, build upon what we're learning, and not falling behind. You can also download a copy of it here. You'll see on the side, here's where our economic delights are, the assignments, and then over here are slides and resources. Our exams will be here, and I'll add exam prep material as we get ready for that first midterm and then the final exam. If If you click on our slides and resources, you'll see there's one group of modules per chapter we cover. So chapter 1, chapter 3, and there's a checklist with recommendations. This is just for your own reference to make sure you don't miss anything. Every chapter will have a learning curve assignment and a homework assignment, and so I'll go through those in the second video about using Achieve. But you'll see everything you need here along with some additional materials. This starts out as just providing you with some lecture slides. What's really important here are lecture videos. Most of these are hosted on YouTube, a few are hosted on UVM, so there are links here. And then what you'll see also is that when we get into the later chapters, there's a lot of other additional videos. So there's my lecture videos, there's additional practice videos with worksheets, and then there's additional links to additional practice materials. My goal here is to give you as many options and resources. You'll see that the set of resources here are quite extensive. I've got lecture videos, I have additional practices, and there's additional resources on Achieve. You are welcome to use other resources to support your learning. You may find it helpful to ask ChatGPT to explain elasticity to you. You may find someone on YouTube who also explains these concepts in a way you find clearer than the way that I do. That's completely fine, and I encourage you to use whatever resources are most effective for you. If you find something really awesome, email me, and maybe I can include it for future classes. I will say for exams, one of the reasons we're using the Respondus Lockdown browser is that I would like to ensure that you are demonstrating the knowledge that you personally have. I don't need you to spend time memorizing formulas. That's not really the purpose of this class. So you're going to be welcome to prepare sort of a piece of paper with different information, and then I'll just have you sort of show it to me and upload it essentially as you complete the exam. And I'll set up the browser such that you'll be able to access the Achieve platform. So for example, the online textbook, so that will be a resource you can use in the exam. You're going to need to make sure that you know the material to be able to complete it in time, but that's something that should be available for you to use. However, you would not be permitted to use other outside materials, such as obviously a friend, but any sort of like Claude, ChatGPT, etc., that would constitute a violation of our academic integrity policy. So if you have any questions about the course, about any of these details, please let me know by email. Folks who have accessibility accommodations through Student Accessibility Services, please send them to me and I'll reach out to you by email. And I look forward to having you in the class, and I hope it's a good experience. Hi everyone. I want to talk you through using our Achieve platform because that's where you'll submit your homework assignments and your learning curve assignments. So when you enroll in the course and have access to our Brightspace, there'll be a link for which you can use down here to register for Achieve. Note that if you go to the publisher website directly and try to sign up, visiting it outside of Brightspace, it won't be able to connect you to the platform and you won't be able to enroll. So you have to go through Brightspace following this link. The first time you do this, you may get something that looks like this, and then you'll just click on accessing the Achieve homepage. Once you're registered, you can bookmark this page. You can just use this website normally. Everything will work out pretty easily here. So this is what my version of the course looks like because I'm the instructor, but let's make it look like a student preview. So what you'll see is a course home, and you'll see all the assignments here. You can work through them at your own pace so long as you meet the deadlines in the course, and the deadlines are listed here. So you can see there are big chunks, usually Mondays and Thursdays, always at 10 p.m. And please note that's Eastern time in case you are in Chicago, California, Switzerland, Japan, wherever. Basically, you click on the activity and you work through them. There are two types of activities. Learning curve activities basically walk you through a series of questions and you have a target score. Please note that if you don't reach the target score, you don't receive credit on the assignment. And if you do, you receive 100% credit. So if you're struggling with the questions here, it's a good time to go back to the textbook, go back to the resources, and make sure you understand the material. But if you get stuff wrong, all that means is that your learning curve experience is longer than it would otherwise be. Now, for the homework assignments, that's not the case. For the homework assignments, there will be usually about 20 questions. You can take as many attempts, but you'll start to lose 20% per incorrect attempt. When questions have multiple parts, you lose 20% on that particular part. So if there's a 5-part question and you get 1 part wrong, it's not that you get 20% overall deducted if you need a second try. It's just weighted by the share of the assignment. And you'll see that there is a combination of sort of drop down. There's some graphing activities. If you have problems with this, I recommend working in Firefox rather than Chrome. You can also reach out to me and then also tech support as a last resort. So those are the two sorts of assignments. You'll also have access to the course textbook. And so you'll have everything here that you need. The other thing I wanted to highlight, because people often miss this, is that if I go into my course book homepage and I see something that looks like this, it says viewing by assignments, but I can also go to view by course content or resource type. Let's do course content. And what you'll see here is you can also go chapter by chapter and you'll find all the materials, or rather you'll see them once I put them there. Have I put the other ones there yet? We'll see. None yet. All right, we'll fix that. From the assignments, you can also click on course content, and what you'll see is the content available for all of the chapters that we're going to cover. What you can do is click on, say, chapter 1, and you can see links to all of the sections. You can see the assignments, and then you'll see additional practice problems. So there's end of class practice problems where you can get more feedback on how you work. You can go to something like price controls, and you'll see, again, additional questions and sometimes additional activities you can also work through. The other thing I want to highlight here is that at the very top we have practice quizzes. These are quizzes where the questions are going to be similar in terms of difficulty and style to what you encounter on the midterm and the final exam. There are about 20 questions per chapter across all 18 chapters. We don't do all the chapters, but there's more than 200 practice questions for you to work through. And these are a great resource to get yourself ready for the midterm and then get yourself ready for the cumulative final. Again, if you have issues with this, let me know. You can also check your gradebook here. I'll note that this should update after you complete your assignments, but sometimes it takes a while to sync back into Brightspace. So if you see that your grade is correct here, but it's not correct in Brightspace, give it a few hours and it should sync. If there's still an issue, then let me know. Occasionally we have syncing problems, but usually it's just that Brightspace pulls the grades a few times a day and doesn't update them in real time. So I will stop here. If there is anything else that comes to your mind, let me know, and I'm happy to help you out.